You know what you're supposed to be doing right now, but you're not doing it. Maybe it's the conversation you've been avoiding, maybe it's the work you've been postponing, maybe it's getting rid of that smoking or drinking habit that you know is terrible for you. The villain of the Ramayana, the most brilliant man in the epics, figured out exactly why this happens. He figured this out at the very end of his life, lying on a battlefield, dying. And Ram, who's the hero, the avatar of Vishnu, the perfect man, knelt at his enemy's feet and asked him to explain it. What is surprising is that Ram knew that Ravana understood something about human psychology, something that being a good, righteous person all the time can't teach you. Before we can talk about what Ravan understood, we need to destroy the cartoon version of him, the 10-headed demon kidnapper with red eyes. That version is useless for what the Ramayana is actually trying to say. So, who was Ravana really? He was the grandson of one of the greatest sages. He mastered the Vedas and the Shastras, the complete body of sacred knowledge of his time. He was a great astrologer, he was an expert in Ayurveda, he played the Veena at a level that was unmatched. And his kingdom Lanka was described in Valmiki's text as a city of gold. It was prosperous, it was advanced, it was flourishing. Even his 10 heads, which we treat as a symbol of evil, were understood by scholars as metaphors. It meant that he had mastered 10 fields of knowledge, and Ram knew this, which is why the moment after defeating him, the moment after the war ended, he sits at the feet of somebody who kidnapped his wife and put him through so much grief. The perfect man, an avatar of Vishnu, acknowledged that the person he just killed knew something that he needed to know. So Ram walks across the battlefield and kneels at Ravana's feet, the posture of a student before a teacher. Ravan opens his eyes and delivers a very astute psychological observation as his dying words. He says, "The things that destroy you, they attract you intensely. You can't hesitate or think, you just go. But the things that could save you, you delay them, you avoid them. I rushed towards Sita, but I kept finding reasons not to face Ram. That is the truth of my life." Ravan did not say that he was weak or that he lost control. He's saying that he understood the mechanism. He could see with perfect clarity that bad choices feel urgent and good choices feel optional. He saw this in himself, he saw it coming, and he watched his own destruction. Now, we have a nice, comfortable story in our heads about self destruction. The story is people make bad choices because they don't know better. Ravan destroys the story completely. He was possibly the most knowledgeable person in the entire epic. He had spent years meditating, he understood the Vedas, his credentials did not protect him. Not a single piece of knowledge stops him from abducting Sita, because intelligence doesn't protect you from desire. It just gives you better tools to justify it. Ravan did not just want Sita, he made up an entire argument for why taking her was acceptable. He found reasons. He rationalized. He used his mind for the attainment of a desire. His advisor Maricha warned him. His wife Mandodari begged him not to do it. This already has parallels with Duryodhan and Mahabharata. And just like Duryodhan, Ravan did not listen to any of them. We know that willpower and knowledge operate through one system of the brain, but desire, craving, and compulsion operate through a much older and frankly more powerful system. And when two systems compete, the older one tends to win. This is where the Ramayana gets genuinely interesting, because it's not just a story about a brilliant man who failed. It's about two different models of living placed side by side. Ravan had everything: power, intellect, a golden kingdom, physical strength, devotion to Shiva so sincere that even the gods respected it. Ram had almost nothing in comparison. He spent 14 years living in the forest. He was exiled from his own kingdom. He built an army of monkeys. But Ram had one thing that Ravan never managed to develop. Ram could act without being controlled by one, his emotions, and two, the outcome. Same idea from the Gita that we talked about in the Arjuna video. Act fully, but don't let yourself depend on the outcome and temporary things like emotion. Ravan's problem was not that he desired things. The Ramayana is not asking you to kill desire. His problem was that he was owned by his desires, by his mind. When Sita appeared, his desire controlled him. It completely took over. Ram, on the other hand, moves through the entire epic with a quality that the text keeps returning to: steadiness. Steadiness even in grief, even in war, even in exile. When things go wrong, he doesn't become less of himself. Ravan becomes more desperate, more extreme, more willing to break things as the stakes rise. Now, there's one more thing in the Ramayana that I don't want to skip. Ravana's 10 heads. One interpretation of his 10 heads is about knowledge, but the other interpretation, the one that appears in multiple traditions, is that the 10 heads implied 10 different inner states: lust, anger, delusion, greed, pride, envy. And then this is the part that people miss: mind, intellect, will, ego. The last four are not vices, they are faculties. The text is revealing something here. It's not that Ravana had too many vices, it's that he had too many faculties that were not integrated. His intellect ran in one direction, desire in another. 10 heads all facing different ways, none of them listening to each other. This is a description of a fragmented self. A person whose knowledge never became wisdom because the different parts of him were never in conversation. That's why he was never able to will himself to do the right thing. The Ramayana's model of an ideal person is not someone without desire. It's someone whose mind, will, knowledge, and action are all pointing in the same direction. Ram has one head, because he's integrated. Knowing what is right and doing what is right. And one has to follow the other. And it is difficult. It's the central problem of being human. And the Ramayana spent 100,000 verses trying to map it.